What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome for the first time if you're just tuning in and you're looking to hear stories about life as an expat or digital nomad in Vietnam. You're in the right place. I have been here maybe too long at this point, a good part of the last 2 years. And in the last video, I had mentioned that I've been putting in way too much work on my YouTube videos. I work as a reality TV editor, and so I've been kind of using my TV skills as a crutch to put these videos together, but just became a colossal waste of time. So I suggested I'd be doing more of these walk and talk, one-man podcast kind of videos, and asked for you guys to comment, which you did. Thank you very much. It seems that this is a format I can stick with for a while and not burn myself out. And in fact, one of you commented, Cam Abroad. Thanks, Cam, for the comments. Cam had a short laundry list of topics he'd like to hear about. The keyword, let me show you this. We're in Hue Nay, by the way, where I was in the last video. Hue Nay is a small seaside village, fishing village, about 2 to 4 hours outside of Ho Chi Minh City, depending on what mode of transportation you're taking. And it's got a cool little beach and sand dunes. Xin chào. Sand dunes. White sand dunes tour and red sand dunes tour. Hue Nay, that's how you write it. Xin chào. There's sand dunes here where you can ride ATVs or pay for one of those overpriced tours in a brightly colored Jeep. Anyway, so I was saying that Cam had commented that some of the more cut and polished videos are lost on him because he's usually listening to YouTube content when he's cooking or showering. And that comment kind of stopped me because that's how I consume YouTube. I usually listen to like Rogan or Huberman podcasts unless I'm watching a tutorial video for motion graphics or something I actually have to watch, maybe a documentary movie. So I thought, well, that's a bright idea. Why don't I stick to making YouTube content the way I consume YouTube content? And I still will drop a properly edited documentary once in a while, but I had to give that editing a break. I was ready to just throw this whole channel idea down the toilet. So anyway, let me look at Cam's comment here and his short list of things he'd like to hear discussed. I'll give you my reactions to a lot of them really quickly, and then we'll do a deep dive into the topic that you read about, saw in the thumbnail. Making friends abroad. That can be quite a mess. And I've got a set of standards and protocols that might help you out. That's kept me safe from harm's way, from all the criminals and psychopaths you meet while traveling. There are plenty of them. Anyway, so Cam says, okay. Money, weather, mental health while abroad, cultural differences, making friendships in these countries, pros and cons of each country, daily experiences and feelings, remote work while abroad. So I'll run through the list kind of quickly. Money. So my initial reaction to that is that cost of living here is about 1/5 of what it would be in the United States. That's if you're traveling here with your US-based income, which I sort of am. I'm making US-based rates as an editor. I'm just not working as much. So maybe I'm making 60% of the money or half the money I would be if I were back in Los Angeles really hustling. So it's not really, you know, if you look at your annual budget, it's not really a 5-to-1 ratio. It's more like, for me, more like 3-to-1 or something. So don't be fooled by thinking that since the cost of living is low here, that you've got way more discretionary income. I've seen way too many expats burn through $1,000 a week, 10 grand in the first month, $20,000 is gone. Money can go really fast, particularly in Ho Chi Minh City, particularly if you're, let me walk you guys up to the market, particularly if you're hanging out with some of the scandalous women we mentioned in the last video that cost my Japanese friend $130,000 before he found one.
Since we are on the topic of money, let me share this financial hack I use called SendWave. It's a fee-free way to send money overseas, but I use it to send my Viet friends money from my US bank account. They cash me out in Viet Dong, and I avoid the ATM fees. This isn't a sponsored video. They just sent me this code as a regular app customer. Use the code, you make 10 bucks, and so do I. Back to the video.
Also, whether my reaction to that idea was clothing. Like, I haven't worn real clothing, and I came back into the country 9 months ago. So for most of my adult life, I've been like black jeans and black t-shirt. I have them here, but they've been in the suitcase for 9 months. I just wear this dry fit stuff, and lately I've been taking about 5 showers a day. I'll just I'll go for a workout, or I'll walk to the market, and I'll get back to the place where I'm staying and just jump in the shower with all the clothing on. It's hot and humid. So yeah, weather and wardrobe change is something you want to consider for sure. Mental health while abroad, yeah, that can be a big one. I had an experience when I lived in Tijuana. COVID started, and I had this one best Mexican friend who was an assistant to me and a friend. He was the only guy that I hung out with when COVID started. He knew all these local girls from high school and in his social circle, and we go to parties. We were supposed to go on a road trip, and he never showed up. So I called his homegirl who worked for the city. He got shot by some cartel dudes, shot and killed. And so I had a dead friend. It was the thick of the COVID panic, and I was in a foreign country, and it was not pretty. And me alone, me alone in a room with a liter of vodka trying to sort that out for myself is not very good. And when I first got here to Southeast Asia, it was really up and down, you know, great one day, really kind of, the culture shock got to me the next. My mental health was kind of all over the map. I've sorted it out now, but I see a lot of expats, what I call pop out of here. They just can't grapple with the culture shock, and they end up sort of freaking out and acting out on everyone, and they end up going home. So mental health is something you want to monitor. You want to have friends you're calling back in your home country or something like that to keep you from losing your shit. There's cultural differences. Well, here's one. Well, no one here gets to pick their own pronouns. There's no such thing as woke in Vietnam. So that's a cultural difference that I can live with for sure, and one that makes dealing with the other cultural differences, pale in comparison. I'd much rather deal with all the weird cultural differences I'll be talking about in these videos than I would deal with the woke culture back in the States. I have a friend from France who now lives in Colombia, who is he's left France because he sees the woke political bullshit from the States, making its way towards the European Union, and he wants no part of it. So his phrase is to stay happy, stay hidden. So, like me, he would prefer to deal with the cultural differences out of his home country rather than the cultural tidal wave of wokeness. So that's my coming to the EU. That's my reaction to cultural differences. But, you know, of course, I'll do a video on that topic for this country and Thailand and whatnot. Making friendships in these countries, we'll cover that in a minute. Pros and cons of each country. My reaction to that is Thailand. I tell everyone to go to Thailand. Thailand is just a super great place. And your best bet for, well, if you had to pick one country in Southeast Asia, they've never been colonized, they're not communists. They've got the best food there. Culture is great. Everyone's greeting is really friendly. The Thai traditions, the temples, the Buddhist monks. Whoa. Yeah, here's one of the cultural differences. The bus drivers don't give a shit if they flatten you out like a pancakes. Yeah, Thailand. Start in Thailand, and then use Thailand as your yardstick to measure and compare every other country. For sure. I mean, it's the best place to be an expat, to retire, for vacation. If you're, single dude, if you're a family, it's got everything for everyone. I always suggest, people ask me, I've been traveling doing these YouTube videos, friends ask me where I would recommend to go. I always say Thailand. And so, yeah, that would help you measure pros and cons of each country. Start there as your baseline. Daily experiences and feelings. Daily life is pretty great. It's always an adventure. And I think I could probably do some videos where I just run the camera for a few hours and walk around Ho Chi Minh City, because some kind of unique experience happens every 20 minutes or so there. So I could probably just take the 2 hours of footage and lift out 10 minutes every other day and throw it online. It would be something unique. And what else we got? Remote work while abroad. My reaction to that is remote work before abroad. I don't have a role model example of a person that I've met here who's come here on their vacation money and then figured out a remote work job. I'm sure there's an exception to that rule. I've seen people try to do it. It's never worked out. I lucked out in that I took a low-paying TV producer editor job right before COVID started, when I went to live in Tijuana where my friend got killed. But it was part of the exchange for me taking the low rate. I got a better title, and I got to do it remotely. And for a while there, I had to drive or take the train up to Los Angeles and pick up a physical hard drive. And so it was kind of remote. I was still tethered physically to the production company for those hard drives I had to pick on. And then I booked another job, which I'm still doing 3.5 years later, that was similarly remote. They would send a PA to my place in Los Angeles and drop off a hard drive. But then they got on a big cloud-based system, and now all the freelance editors like myself, we can work from wherever. So I kind of slid into, and then TV. During COVID, I never thought this would be possible, my whole television career, that I wouldn't have to drive 45 minutes in Hollywood traffic over to the valley to sit in an editing bay in some production office all day. But I worked in Tulum, Mexico, from the beach, working on a Paris Hilton show. Then I did a Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I kind of, it worked out for me. I kind of slid into it. But I've never seen anyone make the leap to go live in a foreign country and then work remotely. So remote work before abroad.
Yeah.
So now to cover the topic of friendships. How did he say it? Making what did he say? Making friendships in these countries. Yeah, that could be, you don't have a great population pool to pick from when you just sort of go and, yeah, see, there's another Jeep. It looks like the one that we looked at. There's like 100 of them in this city, maybe more. Pink and orange and yellow. Anyway, you're just here palling around with the other expats, particularly at the expat bars. You don't have you end up meeting the dregs of society. And I had to set myself a list so I could sort of structure this idea for you. My reference to what an expat community in a foreign country can be like is Key West. In the United States, Key West, Florida is the southernmost point in the contiguous states. My uncle's got a vacation house there. I'm very familiar with the place. The 4 blocks from his house, there's a monument, a buoy that says Havana, 86 miles that way. And being the southernmost point, and also Key West being in Florida, Florida has laws that are kind of give deadbeat dads, wife beaters, and dudes that don't pay their child support, kind of gives them sort of safe harbor. So they flee problems back home in the Midwest or the big city, and end up the furthest point south, the farthest they can run from their problems, and they end up in Key West, a very strange place. It semi-seriously considers itself its own republic and has quite a drag queen freak show culture that you do not want your kids seeing. And my point is that criminals pick the place out because it's like the farthest they can go from their problems with a US passport that's jammed up. Now, if those Key West criminals could run even further from their problems, they would leave the United States and hello, Xin Chao. Can you say hello to YouTube? Shy. Very cute. Matching, you got little matching outfits there. Goodbye. Hang flat. So, if those criminals in Key West could run even further and faster, they would get on a plane and, hey, other dog. I did one of these in the last video. These rando dogs with no owners. Also, I'm out here. I don't have my lav mic died on me, so I'm going to use the new Adobe tool, Adobe Podcast Auto Enhancing tool. So we've been listening to enhanced audio this whole time, and I'll wave my magic wand. Now we're listening to the raw audio with wave and wind noise. So I'll have to figure out how that works out. Anyway, let me turn the enhanced audio back on. So criminals that can actually flee the country, they'll end up in an expat community somewhere like this or somewhere in South America. In fact, I know, let me walk back this way and get out of the wind. I know two expat friends from the UK. Jeez. Saigon seems to be like the UK's Key West, in that it's the place where wife beaters from the UK flee to. In the case of these two guys, they both had domestic dispute charges and or pending arrest or jail sentence. Well, they've been arrested. They had pending sentences to serve or like a drawn out probation. So both of them went to Heathrow, cut off the ankle bracelet, threw it in the garbage, and got on a plane to Vietnam. And that's not uncommon. There are here in Vietnam or in any expat community in any of these countries where it's cheap to live and they can get by with some simple little job without papers and or money, a remittance. In the case of these two dudes, a remittance they're getting from their families back home. So that you could quickly fall into friends with a rogue group of criminals, particularly at the expat bars. And then there's the tourists. Many of them may be like upstanding people back in their home country, but when they're here, they're just wilding out, having fun, being debaucherous. And if you're here the whole time, like the whole year or 6 months, you just get run into the ground by all the tourists coming through and wanting to have fun all the time. So, and then the hostels, the expat bars and the hostels would be another place I would suggest you avoid, unless you're just here on vacation and really just, you know, blowing it out and you want to go home with a financial and physical hangover. So the way that I've dealt with that is I'm fortunate that my brother works for the Marriott. I get the employee rate. I've lived at the Marriott like the whole COVID year, so I have an elite status. And the whole first year, I pretty much lived at a Marriott property, Marriott, Sheraton, La Meridian, a loft, etc., for $50 to $70 a night with dinner, breakfast, and alcohol in an upgraded suite. And most of my good friends here in Southeast Asia are guys that I met at the Marriotts or at the club lounge dinners at the Marriotts. My friend Umar, who lives in Thailand, he and I both lived at the Sheraton in Bangkok for a while, and that's he's a friend. That's a friendship that I want to keep around and invest in. He's a crypto high finance king and a guy that likes to have a lot of fun, but you know, has stability. He's not a criminal in flight of justice. My friend Kyle, who I met at one of the hotels in Saigon, he outsources. He's moving his manufacturing from China to Vietnam for products he sells at Home Depot and the like. And he even says, I've heard him say many times, he's like, you know, I'm not part of this ratty expat community. I'm in a different cohort of people that are over here actually doing business. Also, him and his friend Johnny are buying a villa in the Philippines, and I look forward to having those dudes as like long-term old man friends here in Southeast Asia. And my friend Mick just came over from LA. He's doing he came with a Thai girl he married, and they have a kid, and he says, screw it, man, I'm going to sell my house in LA and just live here. He's doing the same thing I am, working US hours overnight and keeping it together, you know. So Mick's a friend I look forward to having. I'm friends with him for 25 years. And so, hello, Xin Chao. Yeah. Cute. So, you know, that's a friend that I'm fortunate to be able to keep around here in Southeast Asia. And I can go make new friends at the Sheraton I stay at in Saigon. I'm friends with the hotel staff, friends with the doorman, and not everyone can stay at a 5-star hotel like that, but you can certainly like visit places like that that sort of filter out the low end of the expat community. You know, pool bars on a Sunday, brunches, co-working spaces. Those are places that, like the hotels where I've met friends who are real people who are like citizens. You know, you can meet other digital nomads at co-working spaces, co-living houses. The co-living house that I lived in while I was in Medellin, Colombia, I met some good friends there who were doing legitimate remote work careers. Also in Tulum, I lived in Tulum, Mexico, also at a co-working space. I met people that I'll maintain friendships with for a while. It's the expat bars and the hostels. Yeah, yikes. It's why I'm here in this dusty little beachside city of Muay right now, because I booked a reality TV show and I need to keep my head down working. And in Saigon, trying to get work done with all of the expat friends that I know around that I'll run into throughout the day, day after day. It's impossible for me to focus on my work. I have screwed up a TV show job for that reason before. I'm not going to do that again. The other set of friends that I've made has been through the YouTube videos. The YouTube videos haven't paid off financially, but I did make a lot of friendships with the Vietnamese people whose businesses I've covered. My friend Bao with the motorbike rental agency, my friend Henry with the tourism business, my friend Tuan with the watch store at the Benton Market, my friend Min, who we did a real estate video together, another friend Min, she owns a hotel. And I've been to dinner, coffee with all these people. They've treated me, I treated them, and there's something outside of me just being a tourist that's holding those friendships together. My friend Nam has got the bar and barbershop. It's all related to me doing some kind of video or video work with them, or some kind of, and that has led to us discussing other business ventures. You don't have to make YouTube videos to have those kinds of relationships. For instance, a lot of people volunteer for Bao at the motorbike rental agency. He's got a lot of Western friends who have helped him feed the homeless. And there are a lot of volunteer organizations where I see good friendships being made. Also the English teachers. The long-term English teachers here seem to make and maintain solid friendships with a pretty decent group of people, particularly the ones that work for a bigger organization. A place that's got its shit together tends to hire and attract foreign English teachers that also have their shit together. I know quite a few of them. They all seem to have pretty good friendship groups. So that would be the direction I would go in the way of any kind of professional, business-like friendship you can start, or at least in a business setting, at the co-working, volunteering, or at some of the upscale places while you're socializing that are going to sort of filter out the late 30 something crowd of expats here, foreigners just having fun. And the other thing I want to say about friendships is that, and the cultural differences between here and the US, is that I'm no longer friends with a lot of the friends I was friends with back in Los Angeles for many years. Many of them, we just kind of drifted apart. They have families or kids or whatever. But a core group of them, they became too caught up in the political softness, let's say, the wokeness and the gender bending weirdness that's going on with the United States. I mean, the US just doesn't, the perception here in Vietnam, from the Vietnamese, from Australian friends who see the US as like a big brother, like, what the F is going on with the US? It has no balls anymore. And I really realized that more living here. So for all of the cultural differences, the difficulties in adjusting to life here in Vietnam, those problems, they do pale in comparison to the BS that I would have to put up with as a single man back in the United States. I don't want any of that. So, it reminds me, my life here compared to my life in the US, it reminds me of one of my favorite films, and I'm gonna age myself with this because a lot of you are probably too young to get this reference, but I see right here in my subscribers, in my comments, a lot of potential, but I worry that I see it squandering. I mean, God damn it, an entire generation crunching spreadsheets and driving Uber. Slaves with white collars. Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes so we can work jobs that we hate to buy shit we don't need. We are the middle children of history. No purpose, no place. We have no Great War and no Great Depression. Our Great War is a cultural war with those left-wing weirdos. And our Great Depression is our lives. We've all been raised in social media, believe that one day we'd be billionaires and tech gods and Instagram stars, but we won't. And we are slowly learning that fact, and we are very, very pissed off. At least I'm pissed off enough about the culture in the States to not want to return. And I suggest that many of you are feeling pissed off enough to want to try leaving and living your life elsewhere. So we'll have plenty of more stories about your potential new life coming up. That's all I got for this video, fellas. Until the next one, fight the good fight and keep the faith.